One of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do I have that conversation with my parents about moving to a retirement home? And I've been through that experience with both my mother-in-law and my parents. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what my recommendations are. But first, let me tell you about my experiences. So with my mother-in-law, I had that conversation with her long before I got into this business. So it was probably the same conversation that you guys have with your parents. First of all, she had had an issue where she ended up in the hospital, and we thought we were going to lose her, and found out what was the matter, and they fixed everything, and she had to go to a rehab center for a while. And while she was there, I picked out a retirement home for her to move to. But then when it came time to move, she said, nope, I'm going back to my place. So for the year after that, I tried everything I could to get her to move to the retirement home. Now, she had 3 sons, and I was the only daughter-in-law. So the boys, oh, Mom's fine. And I knew Mom wasn't fine. She was a very social person, and she was very isolated. She had had to give up her license because she had had an accident. Her friends, most of them weren't driving and weren't in very good health. And she was just home by herself all day, not doing anything. It wasn't a healthy environment, and she wasn't eating right. So, of course, I did the usual things. I pleaded, I begged, I guilted, I argued, and I got nowhere with her. And finally, what did it is I just said to her, I said, why don't you want to move? What is your reason for not wanting to move? And her answer shocked me. She said, because if I move to a retirement home, I'm going to die. I'm like, Mom, you're going to die. I'm going to die. We're all going to die. It doesn't matter whether you move to a retirement home or you stay where you're at. It's not going to change the fact that you're going to die. And that was all it took for her to agree to move to a retirement home. You have to realize that generation, their parents didn't move to a retirement home. They got ill and they went to nursing homes. And nursing homes back then weren't that great. And you're talking about a person just laid in bed all day and didn't do anything until they died. And that's what they have in their mindset as to what a retirement home is. They're thinking nursing home. So once I had that conversation with her, I said, okay, all right, then I'll move. So with my parents, it was a little different. My parents were still very active and mobile. Dad was still driving. They had a ranch-style house, so they were all on one floor, which was fine. And they lived on a little over an acre. My dad was a putterer. He liked to be in the shop in the basement or out in the garden working, so he always kept busy. So before the C thing happened, I had talked them into going and looking at some retirement homes. So we looked at 3 different retirement homes, and they liked some of them. Whether they could afford to move into them or not, that was pretty dicey. It was kind of, they maybe could eke into some of them. So then we got all done, and I said, well, you like them, let's go. Dad's like, no, not doing it. And then he died in October of 2021. And after he died and I started cleaning out the house, I kind of realized why he didn't want to move. He had places where he used to hide from my mom. There was a place out in the side yard where it was along the edge of the property, and there were some trees and bushes, and he had a metal lawn chair out there. And it was a spot she couldn't look out the window and see him. Down in the bottom of the yard, there was a shed that he used for storing wood and different things. And he had a chair set up down there. It was a nice, comfortable little area. He could go down in the basement away from her because she couldn't do the basement steps. So I realized that being in a retirement home was just a little too much togetherness for my dad to be with my mom. Now, of course, once he died, I said to her, I said, okay, it wasn't a matter of, are you moving? It's like, where are we moving to? Let's make this decision. Because honestly, she couldn't stay on the acre. She couldn't take care of the property. She couldn't take care of the house. She was in poor health as it was. So it wasn't so much a conversation of, are you going to move? It was more me sitting down and going, okay, you're moving. Let's figure out where you're going to move to. And we were lucky enough with the sale of the house and everything that she was going to have enough money to move to a retirement home. So you first of all have to know their mindset. So ask them, why is it you don't want to move? Because like I said, a lot of them, they just remember nursing homes from their parents, and that scares the living daylights out of them. It would scare the living daylights out of me. So what do you do if you have parents and you want to have this conversation with them? First of all, I would say find out what their mindset is. But what I recommend you do is talk to people about being proactive as opposed to reactive. So what do I mean by that? Proactive is they take their time, they look at places, they make the decision where they want to go, and then they decide what things they're taking with them, what they're doing with the remaining things in the house, things along that nature. Reactive is somebody breaks a hip and you're told, okay, you can go to rehab, but you can't go back to your house because there's stairs and there's no first floor bathroom and you can't live in your house anymore. Then you're stuck with wherever they'll send you, whoever has a bed, whoever has an apartment, and you've got somebody else going in and deciding what happens to things in your house. So when you put it to them in that way, it's not a guarantee, but it is helpful because then they kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, I want to be the one in charge of this. Now, having said that, I've met people who said, nope, I don't want to make the decision. I want somebody else to make the decision for me. They want to stick their head in the sand and, whatever happens, happens, and they'll just put up with it. And if you're dealing with somebody like that, then that's kind of what you're stuck with. They're waiting for things to happen to them so that they don't have to make the decision. The other thing is you have to realize they're looking around their house. They have no idea how to clean out their house, how to sell things, how to donate things, how to decide what they're taking with them. So that's where it's really helpful if you can find a professional organizer, especially a downsizing expert, who can come in and work with them. Even if that person just meets with them and has some conversations, that way they kind of go, oh, okay, there's somebody who can help me with this. Because most of the time, they don't want you going through their stuff. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. Again, that depends on their mindset. But if you can find a professional, someone who can help them understand about what they can take with them, what to do with the things that they're leaving, and can help pack them and unpack them. Because they maybe been in their house 30, 40 years. I mean, when was the last time they had to pack and move? They have no clue how to go about doing that. So find out what their mindset is, have those conversations, and mainly just be very open to what it is that they want and find out what their objections are. If you know the objections, then you can sometimes overcome the objections. But if you don't know what they're objecting to, and some of them are just going to say, nope, not doing it, and then you're left with what you're left with. And if you're enjoying my videos, I hope that you will follow me and hit that like button.